Okay, what you have on your screen right now is R.O.B the robot who helps you play games like Gyromite, and the topic of today's video, stack up, stack 'em up. I'm not really sure what it's called right off the top of my head because I'm very tired and I don't think I'm going to get very much done playing this game. So I figured I'd share this little bit of history with you. This little robot guy came with like the big Nintendo package for the people who wanted to buy like all the cool stuff, and it only had 2 games, and it was quite a toy. You see right here you have gyros, and right here this thing right here would spin the tops around or the gyros around. They're just tops, and he would sit the tops or the gyros on top of these little areas right here, this little blue and red area. And when you set them down, they'd weigh it down heavy enough that a button would press on the controller, and it would help you play a game like Gyromite or this stack up game. And he moved slow. Oh, and he'd pick up stuff with these little claws, but he moved kind of slow. But the tops, if they stayed on the things, they would spin for long enough to do what you needed to get done. But it was still very slow, and he could knock the tops down. He could, the tops could just screw up. On the stack up game, he would he would stack these little plates, or blocks or whatever, and he could knock them over on accident, and it was kind of annoying. He had a whole different setup for it. It was crazy. It was neat though. It was just to show that it just shows that historically Nintendo never was afraid of trying really different stuff. People went crazy over the Wii, but shit, man, look, it's a robot. Oh yeah, my arrow's not working. Oh, here we go. Just little claws right here. You know, and his little eyes. His eyes actually worked as little sensors that sensed when when it was time for him to play. The TV would flash, and I guess he would align himself with what was going on with the action, and he would help you out. I don't know. I think it was all kind of automatic. Very, very weird. This was a diagram. It came up with a diagram to set him up and things like that. And here's the little things where he puts his tops on, and it's just weird, this little device that Nintendo had. It's just I linked a video of a guy playing with it, and it was very convoluted, but it was cool. I mean, it was a sign of things to come with Nintendo. They weren't afraid to like make cool things. I bet this was probably very expensive. That being said, I'm trying a few new things with OBS, so I think I've learned how to transition between windows, and I have some music playing in the background. Which the music playing in the background is nothing new, I suppose. I just went and gathered a bunch of random MIDIs to give it that Nintendo music feel. No, I won't be playing the whole thing while I'm showing you the game, but I figured while I did this little intro to what we're doing with the stack up game, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm just learning. Now I'm gonna transition, so this might seem a little clunky. So just give me just a moment. So what's gonna happen is I should fade away from this photo window, which one day the photo window will come without all this stuff at the top like an actual window. It'll just be the picture. And I could do that if I had a second monitor, but right now, hey, this is all we got. But I'm gonna fade out, and I'm gonna fade into my retro arcade window, and let's just see what it does. Let's see what it do. All right, killing the music and fade. Look at that, just beautiful. All right. Robot block or stack up. I don't know why they had these different names. I don't get it. So you got test. If we put it on test, look. Oh, have a seizure. It's I don't know what it does, how it works, but I know it just makes sure the robot's working. Get out of there. Let's see, press the select key. And of course, this is I want to say this is Vector. Professor Vector? Direct. Oh yeah, so basically, direct, it's giving me a challenge. I would have 5 places to stack blocks, and I would initially stack them red, white, blue, yellow, green. And direct is telling me that I need to stack these blocks like this the same way, but I need to move them all to stack 1. And all I would do is I would say, okay, let's pick that up, or I think we'd pick it up. We'd go over here and we'd say, all right, I guess I'd be watching the robot, and then I'd watch the robot, and then I would go over here and maybe pick that. I don't know. It hurts so bad. So I'm guessing this is to pick it up. This is to move it left, whatever. And then you go down. And then I guess when you're done, oh yeah, that's to let go. This is to pick up. So grab, let go. I am assuming this is to pick up. This is to put down. This is to move right. This is to move left. But I don't know how you would tell if you did it right. Memory, let's see. What is memory? Wow, I have no idea what memory is. Interesting. So, oh, I see what I'm doing. So, I guess what I'm doing here, and I'm going to read the instruction booklet and tell you what all this is. I guess what you do is you look at here's your where you start. So you set this up, and this is where the game wants you to put it. So I guess you would just give it commands, and then it would play out. Automatically. But I don't have a Rob here, so have fun with that. And I was looking at this game's like $80. Like you can get this game for like $80. So bingo, this is the game. I think. Not sure. It reminds me of Cubert, but you just move. Oh, I guess you try to avoid getting pinged up by these dudes. So I guess you jump on here, and it moves it left when you get a bingo. And if you want to move it right, you try to line up this bingo. I don't know. It's so hard. So I don't do any of that. So I would do that, and it would do that, and the fact that I don't know what it does. But I have these little critters. This seems like this would be legit hard. And bingo 2-player, no clue. Compete for blocks. So I guess we just take turns. Awesome. Oh, look, it's Hector and Vector. Oh, this is the white guy is Hector, and the guy in the orange or red or whatever is Vector. So I guess you would just piss each other off. See what you can make your robot do. And that's it for the gameplay footage. Let's see. Stack up. Ah, here we go. The beautiful part. Object of the game. Your challenge is to get R.O.B to stack the colored discs to match the colored pattern on the screen. This exciting strategy robot game can be played 4 ways. In the direct mode, try to match the pattern by directing R.O.B through the shortest number of moves. The memory mode allows you to program up to 100 robot moves as you try to match the on-screen pattern. Okay? Or try 1 or 2 player bingo and bounce your way to success against some nasty on-screen competitors. Really missing 80% of the game without the robot. So this game actually requires the robot to enjoy. And it gives you the setting up for stack up gameplay, which you got all these cool trays that you attach to the base of R.O.B. Tells you what all the buttons do. Let's see. Direct. The object of this game is to move the color blocks from a starting configuration to a final configuration in as few moves as possible and as fast as possible. Stack the blocks on tray number 3 directly in front of R.O.B from top to bottom in the following order: red, white, blue, yellow, green. R.O.B moves according to the command key that Professor Hector jumps on. R.O.B makes 3 kinds of movement. He grasps and releases objects, raises and lowers objects, turns and carries objects up to the left and right. Control Rob using the commands above, and restack the blocks as directed in the upper right of the TV screen in as few moves as possible. The faster you do it, the more bonus points you will get. Press the start button immediately after. The restacking has been successfully completed and the current score will be added up. Then challenge a new stack. If you weren't successful, press the select or reset button to start over from the beginning. Memory. This is a challenging game where you must write into memory the procedure you think will restack the blocks from a starting configuration to a final configuration in as few moves as possible. The faster you figure it out, the more bonus points you get. After you finish, play back the memory to see if the memorized procedure works. Okay, you throw this into the hands of a patient child and they learn how to do this. That's gonna pop some gray matter in them at a very young age, because you're actually plotting and planning a routine and you're learning, and you'll sit there and you'll figure it out and you'll figure it out and you'll figure. That's how that makes me feel smarter just talking about it. Now, commands will be written into the row of unmarked keys. Use the A or B buttons to move the cursor beneath the command symbol you wish to use. Make Professor Hector jump on top of the memory key where the command will be written. The command shown above the cursor will then be written on the key. So basically you're just setting commands. If there is a discrepancy between movement of Professor and Rob during playback, the Professor is too fast or too slow for Rob, adjust the speed of Professor Hector. So, in other words, if you're going too fast, slow the fuck down. Let's see. All kinds of shit. Bingo. This is an exciting game. Not challenging, just exciting. Where you must move the blocks from a starting configuration to a final configuration without dropping any of them. But watch out. Because the flipper and spike can interrupt your best laid plans. Stack the 5 blocks on tray number 3. Directly in front of Rob from top to bottom in any order. In this game, disregard the color of the block. So you're just stacking blocks right in front of Rob, but it's these damn little critters that are getting in your way. It's just plan. And of course, your 2-player thing gets in there. Goes over the scoring. Nothing interesting. This instruction booklet didn't come. Oh yeah. Nope. This instruction booklet comes with the parts and lists for the colored blocks, but nothing else. Not all the other stuff that the other instruction manual comes with. Alright, let's see. Stack Up, also known as Robot Block, is an NES video game. It was one of the 2 video games to use R.O.B, a toy robot that was included with the NES system in order to increase sales and distance the system from the failing video game systems of the time. So Nintendo was trying to just get away from the norm, because at the time the norm was pretty much falling out. The bottom of video games fell out before Nintendo came along. Nintendo changed everything. And Rob and this game and Gyromite were efforts to kind of just change the tide. There were 3 main game modes: Bingo, Directed Memory. All 3 games have Player 1 play Professor Hector. In Direct, you must jump on large switches to direct Rob to stack up the blocks in a certain order in the fewest moves and least time. The player is supposed to press start as soon as the blocks are in the right order. The level will finish. Moving on to the next. Memory is similar to Direct, except you must set up a program for the Rob and then run it when you are finished. Bingo requires the player to make a row or column of 5 active switches, which will activate a movement. The goal is to stack the blocks in a specific order while trying to prevent Flipper from causing undesired actions and avoiding Spike, who will knock the player off the board. There is also 2-player mode of Bingo, where the second player can use a second controller to play as Vector. In 2-player mode, the players compete to move as many blocks to one of their trays as possible. That's pretty cool. I'll say, poor Rob, he probably goes crazy. Legacy. The Rob has become somewhat of a representative of the NES as a system, with major appearances in games such as Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS, Wii U, as well as cameos in F-Zero, Pikmin 2, and Kirby's Dream Land 3. Professor Hector has also made some cameos and minor appearances in other games such as Tetris DS and Kirby's Dream Land 3. The blocks that were used in the game as accessories for Rob also later appeared as treasures in Pikmin 2, where they are known as the fond gyro block, memorable gyro block, lost gyro block, favorite gyro block, and the treasured gyro block, along with a broken R.O.B head, which is called the remembered old buddy. That's kind of sad. Oh man. A reference to its actual name, the robotic operating buddy. This game was later given somewhat of a sequel with Gyromite, another Robot Series game where you play as Professor Hector. But these games were released at the same time, I think. Thought it would. Trivia, this game is the first appearance of both professors and the only appearance of Spike and Flipper. While the game was released before Gyromite, this game is extremely rare, most likely because the game was not seen as very desirable by consumers, and that Gyromite was a packing game. So, there you have it. And, you know what? I believe that's it. I, vaguely enjoyed it. I learned some things about making these videos, and I hope it made it a little bit more pleasurable for you. Thank you for watching. If you like, hit subscribe, click like, share it with a friend, leave a comment down below, and all that good jazz. Peace out.